Welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to talk about shape and the basics of art and how I think about it when I'm drawing. Everything boils down to two basic shapes: circles and triangles. Doesn't matter what you draw. You draw an ellipse, it's a squash circle. If I can get it right eventually, you'll see. It's a squash circle. God, these ellipses are ugly. You know what, we're gonna leave it. It's a squash circle. A box, a stack of triangles. It doesn't matter how complicated the shapes get. If it's made out of straight lines, you can make it out of a triangle. So practice a few of these, because just drawing like this, you'll start to see shapes, like weird shapes in there, and then you can like, well, hey, you can use it for painting exercise. Like, how would light hit this and reflect off these edges? Same thing with curve shapes. All you're doing is making loops around circles. Forgot a few. And you can see where I could draw circles in other areas, but you get the idea. Shapes fall into two broad categories, either geometric or organic. So a geometric shape is basically anything you'd see in like a math book, or basically any shape made out of straight lines. That star is horrendous, but it is geometric. Organic shapes are basically more fluid. They're curvy, round. You think of any shape you see in nature. Like, organic shapes are just shapes that, if it's not man-made, it's an organic shape. If it's something man-made, it's more than likely a geometric shape. And those classifications aren't exact, but they will cover most of your bases. When you learn how to mix organic and geometric shapes, the possibilities are endless. Here are a few very simple exercises. Like this first one, like we used to do all the time when we were kids, and that's just scribble. Like that's literally you learning how to draw. And it sounds goofy and you're gonna feel silly while you're doing it. But while you're doing it, you should pay attention to what happens. Like, hey, what happens if I hold the pencil like real tight? Or what happens if I grip the pencil loose? Or what happens if I change my grip? Now, when you're painting digitally, it's kind of hard to like change your grip and hold a pencil in a traditional style. So I recommend also doing these exercises on paper. Like I prefer drawing on paper all the time. Like honestly, it's a lot more. It's something about the feel of it, the texture of it. I'm just weird like that. But scribble a lot. And pay attention to how you feel when you're scribbling. One other thing you should also do is use your whole arm when you draw. Like that way you can make like sweeping broad strokes. Like you don't want to just draw from the wrist. There's a time and place for that, but this isn't it. And then after you scribble, like take a step back and see what you can see in there. Like there's a frog in here with his eyes popping out his head. There's a kung fu man jumping all over the place doing kicks. Like you just see what you can see. There's a crab that caught like a bug or a fish over there in the corner somewhere. And so this exercise is good for like learning how you prefer to hold your pencil and what works best for you, and then stretching your imagination to see things that you wouldn't ordinarily see because you have to make something from a mess. Alright, for your second exercise, we're going to try drawing some waves. Start simple. You can start like with big slow waves and then scribble real tight and then like start to loosen back up, or try scribbling real fast and then start making slow waves, or slow then fast then slow. Just draw different types of waves and run them together. So you're basically kind of still scribbling, but now you're scribbling in a straight line. So for our third exercise, we're gonna draw straight lines. And just don't worry about how straight they are. Cause like look, even my lines come out crooked. That line, look at that. Don't worry about whether they're the same length or anything like that. Just you're drawing lines, You're looking for a rhythm. Find the rhythm. We're gonna do a set of horizontal lines, and then we'll do a set of vertical lines. Same thing, just find a rhythm. See what happens if you go the other direction. This is just the direction that's easiest for me, but sometimes you have to go the other way. Next, we're just gonna draw lines all over the place. The angle doesn't matter. Whether they overlap doesn't matter. Just draw a line as straight as you can make it. Draw some left to right, top to bottom, bottom to top, right to left. So next, we're just gonna draw some basic shapes, geometric shapes. And you don't have to try and draw like hexagons and octagons and all of that. Just draw some shapes that are interesting to you, made of straight lines. Next, we'll draw some shapes that are more organic. This is where it gets weird with classification, because yes, the idea of these shapes is still geometric, but we're drawing them with curves. So are they organic? You could say they are if you want to, but basically take those same geometric shapes you drew and try drawing them with curves. We didn't go over this, but there's two types of curves: concave and convex. Concave, think of like going into a cave, so the curve kind of arches over. And then convex is kind of like a cup, so it's just a curve in the opposite direction. And then just try drawing some shapes that are a blend of straights and curves. And just have fun with it, man. Like that's literally how you're gonna improve. It's just by having fun with it and making marks in random places and seeing what comes out of it. We're not looking to actually make anything right now. We're just making shapes. So our final topic for this video is 3D shapes. If you can draw 2D shapes, you're 2/3 of the way to 3D shapes. So we'll start with the easiest one, which is a sphere. You draw a circle. That's actually a pretty good circle. That ain't bad. And then you're gonna draw a line that denotes curvature. I like to draw all the way through mine so you could see it in X-ray vision, because it helps when you start thinking about volumes to get in the habit of thinking of things as all see-through. And then next, we'll make a triangular prism. These are a good beginner shape because, once again, it's just triangles connecting. Actually, we'll draw it in the same way we drew the sphere, so it's more see-through. And so these are simple shapes that make everything. Of course, to actually be able to make everything look more three-dimensional, you're gonna want to draw it at an angle. You have 3 axes when you're drawing three-dimensionally: X, Y, and Z. And so when you draw things and make them look three-dimensional, we're gonna end up drawing them from a different angle and perspective, so we can actually see the depth of them, because that's what gives everything that believability when you're drawing. It's easier if you start with one shape and then just draw that same shape at an angle. So if you look at those axes over there, I'm basically drawing in the XY plane in those directions, then in the ZY, and then in the ZX. And that might sound complicated, but basically you're just drawing 2D shapes and connecting them. That's all you're doing is draw a 2D shape on the left, a 2D shape on the right, and then connect them with lines. Or if you're going top to bottom, a 2D shape on the bottom, a 2D shape up top, and connect them with lines. So that's the easiest way to think about it. And depending on what angle it's at, you may have 3 2D shapes or you might have 2. And also depending on the shape you're drawing, you might have 3 2D shapes or 2 2D shapes. It's kind of hard to talk about drawing in 3D without going too much into perspective. So I think that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. And after we talk about perspective, 3D shapes will make a lot more sense. Before that though, we're going to do a couple exercises to help you think about drawing in 3D. So the easiest way to learn how to draw in 3D is draw a 2D shape and then make that shape 3D. If you add contour lines, that's the easiest way to do it when it comes to an organic shape. So once again, just a random 3D shape. And then just make your contour lines kind of follow the idea of the, in this case, we'll call it an S curve. It's not quite an infinity. That side is a little iffy though. It could still be better. That'll do. If you really want to go crazy, you can even draw the inside of all those slices. But we're not gonna go. We'll save that because that is a bit hectic. We'll call it. It's a little. That is a bit advanced. So the best way to practice drawing 3D shapes, I find, when they're not geometric, just make a random contour or a random boundary, a curved boundary, and then just kind of then draw the contours to give it volume. And the cool thing about it is you might draw your contours different than the way I draw my contours because you might see the volume going a different way. But that is it for this one. Like I said, next time we're gonna talk about perspective, and that'll help make 3D make a lot more sense. But in the meantime and in between time, I'm pretty sure like if you're beginning drawing, even if you're not beginning drawing, just try to exercise this because they're still fun. Like the scribble is probably my favorite. See y'all in the next video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions about anything, or like something doesn't make sense, or you need a more in-depth explanation, or there's something that you would like to see covered, leave a comment and let me know, and I'll make sure I answer.